Good day, everyone. Today's lesson is about citizenship, how people participate, disengage, complain online, and sometimes actually change society. Let's talk about why that happens. So, citizenship is not just having a passport, voting during elections, or knowing your rights. It's about how individuals participate, respond, and take responsibility within society, especially when faced with problems that test fairness, justice, and governance. As you listen, I want you to think about this guiding question. What happens to a society when citizens begin to lose trust in institutions, leaders, and systems meant to serve them? So, we only have three learning targets for this lesson. The first one is that I can identify key human rights organizations and explain their roles and accomplishments in promoting and protecting human rights. The second one is that I can analyze a specific human rights issue and describe how an organization has addressed and resolved it. The third is that I can identify and practice ways to actively participate in democratic processes and community initiatives, demonstrating informed and responsible citizenship. Contemporary issues affecting citizenship refer to present day social, political, and economic problems that influence how people exercise their rights and fulfill their responsibilities as members of the society. So, these issues can often challenge active participation, good governance, and respect for human rights, making citizenship more complex in a modern and interconnected world. Problems such as misinformation on social media, voter apathy, and corruption can weaken citizens' trust in institutions. And when trust is weakened, participation declines. And when participation declines, accountability suffers. So citizenship is therefore not static. Okay? It changes depending on how the systems treat people and how the people respond to those systems. One major issue affecting citizenship today is political apathy, especially among the youth. Political apathy or youth disengagement refer to a lack of interest, awareness, or participation in political and civic processes such as elections, public discussions, or community decision making. So, when young people disengage, this is where democracy weakens because youth voices, ideas, and concerns are no longer reflected in the policies and leadership decisions. Over time, this can result in poor accountability, weak leadership, and systems that no longer respond to the needs of the younger generations. In the Philippines, many young people choose not to register as voters or they abstain in elections altogether. Others engage politically through social media, through sharing, liking, or commenting without participating in barangay consultations, youth councils, or voter education programs. So here's the thing. Political apathy often does not come from laziness. It usually comes from disillusionment, the feeling that participation does not lead to real change. To better understand why citizens become disengaged, we need to look at systemic issues, patterns that repeatedly weakens people's trust in governance and participation. Across many societies, past and present, several recurring issues continue to shape how citizens relate to authority and power. First, abuse of power and corruption. When officials use authority for personal gain instead of public service, citizens begin to feel that the system exists only for a privileged few. Second is, of course, deep social inequality. When access to education, justice, or opportunity depend on social class, citizenship becomes unequal. Some voices matter more than others. Third, lack of genuine political representation. When people feel that leaders do not truly represent them, participation becomes symbolic rather than meaningful. And of course, fourth is human rights violation and state violence. Arbitrary arrest, intimidation, and unlawful killings create fear rather than civic trust. Of course, we have also the fifth one, which is suppression of dissent and free expression. When learning systems discourage critical thinking, citizens are less equipped to question authority. We also have the seventh issue, which is moral hypocrisy among our leaders. And this is when those who claim moral authority act unethically. This is where legitimacy start to collapse. We also have the eighth moral issue rather, social and political issue, which is youth disillusionment and radical responses. When peaceful reforms seems impossible, some begin to reject lawful participation entirely. We also have the ninth social issue, which is the failure of peaceful reform mechanisms. This is when legal processes consistently ignore public concerns, frustration starts to grow. We also have the last, which is the loss of national dignity and identity. This is when citizens are made to feel inferior or powerless. Active citizenship eventually fades. And these issues do not belong to one time period only. They are patterns that continue to appear wherever power goes unchecked and participation is restricted. Another major challenge to citizenship today is misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation refers to false information shared without harmful intent. That's misinformation. While on the other hand, disinformation is intentional. It is deliberately created to deceive or manipulate. In the digital age, unverified information spreads rapidly and shapes public opinion, often faster than the truth. So, media literacy, the ability to critically evaluate and verify information, is now an essential civic skill. In the Philippines, organized groups such as the so called troll farms have circulated disinformation to influence political narratives when citizenship, or rather, people cannot distinguish the truth from manipulation, democratic participation becomes distorted. Human rights violations and social inequality occur when individuals or groups are denied basic rights due to unequal treatment, abuse of power, or unjust systems. These conditions limit access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities, especially for marginalized communities. In the Philippines, examples include extrajudicial killings, labor exploitation, land grabbing affecting indigenous peoples, and unequal access to quality education and healthcare. When rights are not protected, inequality deepens and citizenship becomes fragile. Because human rights are essential to citizenship, many organizations exist to protect them. International groups such as Amnesty International, Global Rights, Human Rights Action Center, and Asian Human Rights Commission monitor abuses, advocate for victims, and promote accountability worldwide. Amnesty International. This is a global movement with members and supporters totaling over 7 million people. Its motto is, "It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness." Its main mission is to conduct research and campaigns against human rights abuses worldwide, as well as to seek justice for victims of human rights violations. This organization is also active in the Philippines. Human Rights Action Center, or HRAC. The Human Rights Action Center is an organization that promotes awareness and protection of human rights, often using creative and advocacy based approaches to highlight abuses. In the Philippines, Human Rights Action Center also refers to local centers that help citizens report human rights violations and ensure authorities uphold human rights in their communities. Global rights. The primary goal of this international organization is to promote and protect the human rights of people who have little voice in society and government. It also empowers its active members to document and expose human rights abuses, advocate for human rights reforms, and provide legal services. We also have Asian Human Rights Commission, founded in 1984 by prominent groups active in the fight for human rights in Asia. This organization aims to raise awareness about human rights and promote their implementation across the continent. In the Philippines, Commission on Human Rights serves as the country's national human rights institution. It documents complaints, provides legal assistance, monitor detention centers, and promotes human rights education. Civil society organizations like PARA, PhilRights, Karapatan, and FLAG further strengthen democratic participation by empowering citizens to defend their rights. Civic participation is the active involvement of citizens in community life and democratic processes. It matters because it ensures voices are heard, leaders are held accountable, and communities become stronger and more inclusive. Participation empowers citizens to move from being passive observers to active contributors to social change. Civic engagement may be formal or informal. Formal participation means voting, joining political parties, or attending official assemblies, while, in the other hand, informal participation includes volunteering, advocacy campaigns, and community initiatives. Both forms are valid, and both shape society. Suffrage, or the right to vote, is one of the most powerful expressions of citizenship. Responsible voting requires informed decision making, knowing candidates, understanding issues, checking reliable sources, and thinking independently. Every vote influences leadership, laws, and future generations. Voting is not only a right, it is a responsibility. Civic and community organizations allow citizens to work collectively toward the common goals. Groups like SK, YesO, or Red Cross Youth develop leadership, cooperation, and active citizenship, turning ideals into action. In conclusion, citizenship is tested not when society is comfortable, but when it is challenged. As we move forward, my dear students, remember democracy does not weaken because people criticize. It weakens when people stop caring. Active, informed, and responsible participation remains the strongest foundation of a just society.